This week on The Gadget Show, I search for the best way to stay logged on when you're away from your desktop.
I use one PC, a couple of dancing bunnies and 200 ears to test MP3 phones.
And I do a bit of mobile phone future gazing.
The MP3 player, the most successful gadget so far this century. It's completely reinvented our love for music. And it seems that no matter where you go, everybody everywhere has one. Earphones are the new black. MP3 players are now being incorporated into pretty much every other gadget you can think of. Radios, game consoles, and even sunglasses. But surely what you really want is for your MP3 player to find its way into a gadget that you carry around with you all the time, like your phone. Both Sony Ericsson and Motorola have launched MP3 phones this year, hoping to get a piece of the action. Sony were the original creators of music on the move with the Walkman, and now they've launched a Walkman phone, the Sony Ericsson W800i. You can send messages and browse the internet without interrupting your music, and you get a 2-megapixel built-in camera. The phone holds up to 150 songs on a 512 meg removable memory card. Of course, these days Apple's iPod rules the world of personal music, and working with Motorola, they've got in on the MP3 phone market as well, with the Rocker. This is the first phone to be fully compatible with iTunes. Music is again stored on a memory card, although the phone is limited to holding 100 songs, however big the card, presumably to prevent it taking business off the shuffle. But are these phones masquerading as music players actually any good? And which is best? I feel some testing coming on. So you want to put your favourite tunes on your phone. But how difficult is it, and how long does it take? Well, that's what we're about to test. We've already ripped this Chemical Brothers CD onto iTunes for the Rocker and Real Player for the Sony Walkman. Now we want to transfer the whole album from the PC onto the phones and then select and play track 10.
3, 2, 1, go.
As with anything iTunes, getting the Rocker going was dead simple. I just plugged it in. The iTunes software on your computer immediately recognises the phone and starts updating it with the new album. With the Walkman, it was a little bit more complicated. I needed to manually open the music file via the Disk2Go software that came with the phone, then select the correct files and start the download manually. The Walkman was faster overall though. Once the tracks had downloaded, the menu was very easy to use. I was playing track 10 after just 5 minutes and 7 seconds. Yep! Get a load of that. In contrast, the Rocker took an age to load from iTunes. It was 7 minutes and 32 seconds before I could play track 10, and that felt too long. A surprising result when you consider that when we ran the same test with a range of MP3 players last year, the iPod won hands down, downloading a whole album in just 50 seconds. Now your phone is full of tunes, it's time to enjoy the music. But how good do these MP3 phones actually sound? Well, to find out, we did a survey. We took the phones out on the streets and asked 100 people which handset they thought produced the best all-round sound. To make things fair, we used the standard earphones that came with each phone. Both phones do have adapters that allow you to plug in any headphones you want, although with the Motorola Rocker, you have to buy these separately. After 100 people had listened to both phones and given us their opinion, we had a clear winner. 65 of those asked, that's almost 2/3, preferred the sound quality of the Rocker.
The Rocker's better.
Battery life is going to be key with these phones, so our battery test bunnies are going to see just how long they last. They're going to be dancing and listening to the music and then every 20 minutes receiving a 10-minute phone call, and we'll see which one runs out of juice first. The phones, not the girls. This is no mean feat for the girls. Remember, the Walkman only holds 150 songs and the Rocker just 100 songs. So they're going to be pretty bored with the music we've given them by the time the batteries on these things eventually give up. You can upgrade the memory cards on both phones to 1 gig, which means on the Walkman you can double your number of songs to 300. But remember, however big your card, the Rocker is still limited to 100 songs. The earphones on both also contain a microphone, so you can switch easily from music to calls without even taking your phone out of your pocket. The difference comes when the phone call ends. As soon as you hang up, the Walkman returns to the track you were listening to. The Rocker, on the other hand, doesn't. You've got to get back to the music manually, and that can be a bit annoying. But which lasts the longest? Well, in our test, the Rocker lost again. Its battery died after 12 hours and 25 minutes of constant use. The Sony, though, just kept on going, the battery eventually lasting over 15 hours. So, which one's best? We think the Sony Walkman. It had the longest battery life and it was really easy to use, and to be honest, it does look better. However, neither of them convinced us that we should rush out and buy an MP3 phone just yet. Next year, we reckon things will get an awful lot better. Nokia have already announced they'll be launching a music phone with a 4GB hard drive, the sexy-looking N91. And that's probably worth waiting for. And let's be honest, when your gadgets are this small, it's not that difficult to carry both of them around, is it?
Staying connected to the internet at all times and picking up emails wherever you are is becoming ever more crucial.
I couldn't function without some form of web access when I'm out and about. This script, for example, was written and edited in 3 different cities using every connection going.
I've spent the last year or so trying to discover the best way of keeping my laptop connected while on the move.
So, what are your options? Well, your first choice, and the one that's been around the longest, is GPRS.
General Packet Radio Service. It's an innovation that piggybacks on the massive 2G phone networks that cover just about all of Europe and America. Because of this, it has the best coverage available, and it's far and away the most reliable.
To get connected via GPRS, all you need is a compatible phone and a GPRS account, a couple of calls to your network provider, and you should be good to go.
All you need to do is go through network settings and connect your laptop using Bluetooth, though you could always use a physical cable. The great thing is it's always on for checking emails and downloading, but it can be expensive.
If you're like me and you do a lot of data on the move, it works out at about £10 or £20 a month. It's once you're online that the major drawback of this technology becomes apparent. It's dreadfully slow, downloading data at just 48 kilobits per second. That's even slower than a dial-up landline connection.
When it boils down to it, if you're used to streaming videos, downloading your MP3s in the blink of an eye, and internet gaming, it just doesn't cut the mustard. It's a great backup, but really I need something a lot quicker.
Enter 3G, the much heralded saviour of the mobile data generation, offering you and your laptop free and open internet access at near broadband speed. At least, that's what they told us. But what's it like in reality?
Well, amazingly, it can work out cheaper than the much slower GPRS, because despite the higher cost of 3G data, the companies offering it are so keen to get a 3G phone in your hand that there are some amazing deals to be had. Where this system comes a cropper is exactly where GPRS excelled: coverage and reliability. Although growing daily, 3G coverage is still limited to big cities and motorway corridors, and it's pretty unreliable, with the signal regularly dropping out for no apparent reason.
When I've had a signal and managed to keep it, it's been fantastic. 384 kilobits of pure internet goodness. But if you had to get online, anytime, any place, you'd be a fool to rely on 3G. And that brings me to Wi-Fi. Is that the answer? Well, I'll leave that one to John, who's been doing a bit of research.
Thank you, Jason. I bought myself a new laptop the other week, so I decided to road test it in some of Birmingham's Wi-Fi hotspots. I'm pleased to report that the laptop works fine, but the Wi-Fi hotspots were on the whole a miserable disappointment. I'd done my research, of course. I headed straight for the places listed as having free access in the online Wi-Fi guide published by the Birmingham Tourist Board. First stop, the International Convention Centre. How forward-thinking of them, free internet access to encourage all those people to come to Birmingham for their conferences. I brought my coffee and my cake. The network's been detected immediately. It's coming through at full strength. Here's the home page of the centre. Press to connect. A whole load of terms and conditions to agree to. And here's the catch. You need a scratch card number, and they'll charge you for it. And it's £4 for a measly 20 minutes access. Wi-Fi lesson number 1 then. Free access doesn't mean free. This Eat place nearby was slightly cheaper, £1 for an oh-so-generous 12.5 minutes. The signal was strong, but it was incredibly slow. It took over 6 minutes to check the emails on just one account. But according to the lady who's running the place, I'm lucky. In fact, I'm the first person in there who's managed to download anything at all. Next, Starbucks, and an eye-watering £5 minimum for an hour, charged to my credit card through T-Mobile. Irritating entering your credit card details in public as well. If I wanted the monthly subscription, it'd be £45. It worked okay, but in my mounting frustration, I'd forgotten to check what time Starbucks closed, meaning I had to leave with 20 minutes of my non-refundable hour's web time still unused. I don't want the internet to be like this. Wi-Fi should just be there in cafes, like the tables, the chairs, or the loos. I don't have to commit myself to an hour or worry about how I'm going to cram everything into 12.5 minutes. When you go to a hotel, they don't ask you to pay for the baths in advance or measure how long you're spending in the shower. These charging schemes are ridiculous. But it's not all hopeless. Next day, I tried Birmingham department store Beatties, who have free Wi-Fi access in their cafe. They've even got a couple of Macs in case you've forgotten to bring your computer with you. May not be the most fashionable of venues, but it's definitely how Wi-Fi access should be. But if Birmingham's typical of the country as a whole, this is still something of a rarity. Ironically, Beatties are due to close in the new year, so we'll have to wait and see if their new owner keeps up their high Wi-Fi standards.
So, Wi-Fi is ridiculously expensive. 3G is unreliable, and GPRS is just too slow. But there is another option. Unfortunately, it's the coolest bit of kit I've had to play with all year. I love it. All you've got to do is plug this little USB box into your laptop, and then the other end into this. Yep, that's right. Your very own satellite dish. You can put this thing just about anywhere. As long as you can see the sky, you can log on, even here, in the middle of nowhere.
OK, it's not exactly the most mobile setup, but it's a good indicator as to what the future holds. And in my mind, that makes it worth shouting about.
You all right, mate? How you doing?
Fine, how you going?
Where you from?
Australia.
My kind of town?
Yep.
You want to check your emails? I'll just need to stand there, mate.
Yep.
Hotmail, yeah? Pop it in there, bro. Hello, mate. Satellite broadband, 2 megs per second. I wasn't trying to sell it to you. Do you want to send an email to your parents, say that you finally got it together? Satellite broadband, any place, any time.
No, it's all right.
A little bit like love. Got it?
That's amazing.
Isn't it incredible, man?
Yeah.
Modern technology.
It is cool. And perhaps the coolest bit is that you can use it to pick up all the free-to-air TV and radio channels as well.
I've got it sorted, right? We strap this satellite to your wheelchair. We hook you up with the TV on the front there. You've got Sky News as you travel. Hey? Channel 5 as you traverse the pavement. What do you reckon?
You're well in there, kid.
Thank you, my friend. Ta-ra a bit.
There's just one problem. To stay connected, your computer needs to be locked onto the satellite signal. And the way your little dish is pointing is absolutely crucial. Touching it with your finger is enough to throw it out.
However, there is a solution called a gyroscopic geocentric dish, which will actually track the satellite as you move along in your Winnebago or expensive yacht. Only problem is, it's a little on the pricey side. £14,000.
But hey, prices are coming down all the time. And soon we may all have mini satellite dishes stuck to our laptops, giving us full broadband access wherever we are.
If you look at any product in a supermarket, you'll find one of these, a barcode. Now, barcodes have been around since 1974, when the very first purchase using barcode was made. It was a pack of Juicy Fruit gum. The black and white bars of different thickness represent a code unique to each product. The human readable form is written underneath. Now, when you reach the checkout, a laser swipes the image, recognises the distance between the bars, and registers a sale. But barcodes are about to be replaced by something far cleverer. Smart tags, also known as RFIDs, or radio frequency identification tags, and they could revolutionise the way that we shop. But what are they? They're tiny microchip tags which contain data about the product, and attached to them, minuscule metal antennas. This means that you don't have to physically scan every single product through the till. Instead, a nearby scanner activates the tags on all of my shopping at the same time, and I'm presented with an instant bill. So?
But they're not just being used to speed up shopping. Because they contain more information than a barcode, they can be used for all kinds of personalised programs. RFIDs really are starting to pop up everywhere.
VIP members of a club in Barcelona have had RFIDs implanted into their arms to get entry and pay for drinks. Car manufacturers, notably Mercedes, use RFIDs for their keyless entry systems. A reader in the car recognises the information on a tag and lets you in.
And a special fridge can scan food as you put it in. It then knows when you've run out of butter or when the milk is past its best.
In this tube are the smallest RFID chips in the world. Hundreds of them. Even if you attach an antenna to one of them, it'd still be small enough to inhale. And each one can store a heck of a lot of information. Which is fantastic, except a walk down the street could become one big information giveaway. Anyone with a reader could scan your clothes or even you. Food for thought, eh?
Now it's time for the latest in our guides on how to get the most out of your gadgets. This week, how to listen to MP3s in your car. With more of us building a digital music collection, for many the only place we still use old-fashioned tapes and CDs is in the car. But having to press eject and swap albums seems rather antiquated these days. So what's the best way of listening to your digital playlists on the road? Well, you could always buy a new car. Some manufacturers, including Audi and Mini, are building cars with iPod connections. But luckily, there are cheaper alternatives. The cheapest way, but not the quickest, is to burn your MP3s back to CD. A blank disc costs about 20p, and because the music is compressed, you can fit 10 albums onto one CD. So if you've got a modern stereo and a 6-CD changer, that means access to about 650 songs. The trouble is, with no convenient search function, it's a pain trying to remember where that favourite song is buried. It is possible to wire your iPod into your existing stereo. But if you have an older stereo with a cassette deck, you can get a convenient adapter. One end plugs into your headphone jack, and the cassette end goes into the stereo. It costs about 30 quid, and although the wires are messy, the sound is actually quite good. Another solution is to upgrade your stereo. Most new ones are MP3 compatible. This Blaupunkt costs £265 and comes with a removable flash memory card. Your PC will need a card writer so you can transfer songs from your collection. This Alpine costs £229 and is specifically designed to work with the iPod, allowing you to plug straight in. What's neat is that the click wheel controls move to the face unit for the ultimate inconvenience, and your iPod will even recharge while it's plugged in. Which means when your journey's over, the music won't be.
This is Gadget Show regular Tom Dunmore, Editor-in-Chief of Stuff magazine. He's here to show you what's latest and best in the world of headphones.
The latest thing in personal stereo headphones is wireless, which is where units like this come in really handy. This is a Bluetooth sending device, and it links wirelessly to these Logitech headphones, so you can set your music playing and stick it in your pocket or your backpack without having to worry about wires. The problem with these Logitech ones, though, is the sound quality isn't great. If you want to improve it, the answer lies here. These AKGs are a lot bigger and more sturdy than their Logitech ones, and they sound a lot better too. Now, they plug in the same way to the iPod, but as you can see, it's a rubberized connection, which is great if it's in your bag because it's not going to snap the iPod earphone socket. If you like a bit more kick to your music, these Skull Candy Crushers are the phones for you, because not only do they deliver a huge bass anyway, they come with this amplifier that literally vibrates the headphones. It's an incredible experience. It's a bit like having a car with a boot full of bass bins. It just shakes your brain around. These Sennheiser phones are really great for travelling on aeroplanes because they've got noise cancelling technology built in. You just flick this switch and the little microphones inside pick up the background noise and issue a kind of anti-noise, which means that you can listen to your music at a lower volume and save your ears. They sound really good too. If you don't already have an MP3 player, these phones from JVC have got one built in. You just plug this USB connection into your computer and you can download about 80 songs onto the 256 megabytes of memory that are built inside them. You simply attach them to your ears. Don't exactly look fantastic, but they are a great budget alternative to the iPod. Well, my absolute favourite personal stereo headphones have to be these Shures. They come in this really cute little carry case. They're really portable and they sound brilliant. They fit deep into the ear canal, so they cut out all the background noise, and they come with loads of different adapters, so whatever size your ear is, they will work. But once you actually attach them and start listening, you'll be amazed that you can get such an amazing sound from such tiny headphones. They look cool, they sound great. Everybody should have a pair of these headphones.
Recently, we went to London's Excel Centre for a look at some of the amazing new technology that'll soon be coming to your mobile phone. As it was a smartphone trade show, it was full of lots of very serious business applications and very serious people in serious suits being serious. Well, mostly, but there were also some very cool things waiting to be uncovered. Like a global GPS system that works through your mobile phone. You can plan your route, find a restaurant, call to make a booking and text the coordinates to your friends, all through the same device. It'll be available through your mobile operator by Christmas, all for around £9.95 a month. There was also some very interesting handwriting recognition software. Write down a quick note or even a lengthy message using this digital pen and this special paper. Click send, and through the magic of Bluetooth, your handwritten message is sent as a text or an email. The great thing is that it has a kind of predictive spelling function that checks the handwritten characters actually work in a sentence. Perfect if you've got illegible doctor-style handwriting. It'll correct your scrawl accordingly. Now, if you're of an age where you don't really like technology, but have been forced to live with it, then this may be of interest. Fresh from Japan is the Raku Raku, meaning easy to use, mobile phone. Its makers imagine the elderly will appreciate its big buttons, nice bright colours, and one-touch emergency services dialing. But the best feature is the slowed speech recognition. When a young whippersnapper calls, the phone slows their voice down, so your nan can understand what's being said. A feature of the show was mobile gaming, and one stand was really impressive. They had what is essentially a 3D graphics accelerator for a mobile phone, the kind of thing you'd find in a PC. This was rigged to a demo, but the chip will be part of some big new phone releases in the near future. They weren't allowed to say which ones. Look at those graphics though. Imagine that on your mobile phone screen. And talking about screens, just as we were about to leave, someone sidled up to us. They'd heard the Gadget Show were in the building and asked if we wanted to see something special. Now, we don't usually accept offers like that from strange men, but this guy was from Dutch electronics giant Philips, so we figured it was okay. And we're glad we did. Well, here's the proof that foldable screens are actually just around the corner. The man from Philips had brought with him an absolutely amazing prototype device called the Radius. It wasn't on display at the show and had only just been very quietly unveiled. It holds a really, really thin screen made out of organic polymers and uses electronic ink, black and white particles that move around when an electric field is applied. In all, the display is about 100 nanometers thick, about the same as a piece of paper, and crucially, it rolls up into a 3/4 of a centimeter tube. The Radius streams all sorts of live information and should be available by the end of 2006. Though most amazing is what it represents. There's a whole new world coming of massive fold-out screens on tiny little devices, and I, for one, am thoroughly excited by the possibilities.
For a while now, TVs have been getting bigger. 10 years ago, in this country, the average screen size was 32 inches. Now, apparently, most of us want a 42-inch screen. But you can go a lot bigger. LG make a plasma screen TV that's an incredible 71 inches wide. And only a few weeks ago, Samsung unveiled the world's biggest plasma screen, an incredible 100 inches. But strangely, in the next few years, a lot of the big technology companies are banking on the fact that millions of us are going to be watching TVs that will get smaller and smaller. In fact, they're producing TVs right now with screens that are just a couple of inches wide. But why are we going to want all these teeny tiny tellies? Because they're going to be in our mobile phones.
Yep, as if our mobile phones didn't already do enough. They found a way of cramming a whole load of TV channels into them, and they reckon that within the next 5 years we'll be regularly tuning in as we travel home on the bus.
Although by then we'll probably all be travelling home in hover shuttles or solar-powered jet bikes. South Korea has had TV on mobiles for almost a year. Due to their nation's obsession with mobile phones, they've long been the test bed for all things mobile. And since last May, they've had a service offering 11 channels. It uses a system called DMB, that's Digital Multimedia Broadcasting, a video version of the DAB radio we've got in the UK. It's been comprehensively monitored, and it seems that the South Koreans mainly use it to keep up with major breaking news stories and big sporting events. Think about it, it makes perfect sense. When London won the bid for the 2012 Olympics, I was stuck in a forest filming for the Gadget Show. I'd have given anything to have been able to watch the celebrations on a TV, to have felt part of the event, and a TV on my mobile would have been ideal. Putting TV on mobiles in South Korea has been a massive success, and the big telecom companies are now rolling it out everywhere else. In the UK, Orange have been offering TV on their mobiles for the last few months. The service costs £10, allows you 20 hours of viewing per month with 15 channels covering news, entertainment and sport, the likes of Bravo, ITN, the Cartoon Network. I've been watching TV on my Orange mobile phone for a couple of months now, and I've got to say, I'm very impressed with the service. I'd like the 5 main channels to be there, but it's not bad. The problem is that it uses the 3G network to send your TV show as data. That means that the number of people that can simultaneously log on and experience TV on their mobiles is limited. In a traditional TV broadcast, the signal is beamed out from a big transmitter, and everyone with an aerial pointing in the right direction can pick it up. Sending TV via 3G means the programmes have to be delivered individually to each viewer, and that takes up a lot of bandwidth. The bandwidth available in each cell of the network is, of course, limited, and so if a number of people in one cell all try and watch at the same time, the system can't cope. Not ideal, but for the time being 3G TV is just about all we can hope for on our mobiles. But the big players in the mobile marketplace, including Orange, know what the real answer is, and it's a technology being trialled right here by O2 in Oxford. It's called DVB-H, Digital Video Broadcasting Handheld, and you get basically the same programmes as through a digital set-top box, including the Big Five, BBC 1 and 2, ITV, Channel 4 and Channel 5. And let's face it, if TV on mobiles is to catch on, this is the sort of service we'll need. The big challenge here, and it's what DVB-H does so well, is the ability to deliver pictures to your mobile phone without the need to attach a great big directional aerial that you've got to stick in one position in order to get a good picture. You need to transmit a heck of a lot of information to get a good quality picture on a screen this size. But you only need a fraction of that information to get a good picture on a screen this size. That means that the signal doesn't need to be nearly as precise and can be picked up by a small antenna attached to a device that's constantly moving, like a mobile phone. The technology really does work, it's quite brilliant. While we've been filming here in Oxford, I've been in and out of cabs, in between buildings, and the picture quality on my O2 TV mobile really hasn't faltered. And all the major phone companies agree. O2 are chuffed to bits with their trial here in Oxford. Orange have got a similar trial running in France, and Nokia, well, they couldn't wait to show us this. Their latest DVB-H mobile handset. So, I hear you cry, that sounds great. Proper telly on our mobile phones that we can watch wherever we are. Why can't we have it now? Well, because right now there's no room for it in the air. You see, everything that gets transmitted, be it TV, mobile phone signals, Radio 4, air traffic control, or even your home Wi-Fi system, needs its own discrete radio frequency. And so if DVB-H is to happen at all, it'll need its own dedicated frequency to operate on. And that's just the problem. There are none free. The airwaves are full up. O2 have been given just a limited amount of bandwidth for a small amount of time to run trials here in Oxford using a network of transmitters situated in the city centre. When analogue TV gets switched off in 2012, there'll be a whole load of space freed up. But that's 6 years away. We'll have to make 12 series of the Gadget Show before you can enjoy it on your mobile. Luckily, there are intense negotiations going on right now to free up space for DVB-H. And most operators are hopeful that TV on your mobile will be available by the end of this year. And if you're not sure that you want to watch TV on a screen just 2 inches wide, there's a solution in the pipeline for that too. Future phones will have flexible screens built in, which you can unfold for a much bigger picture. Costs a whopping £3,500, and it's designed to get the very best graphics and speed from today's computer.
We're in! Oh, hang on. Let me get the propeller down.